Ladies and gentlemen, that was the sound of the Steelers getting eliminated in the postseason to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one was a tough loss for me. Personally, I decided not to make a video until tonight just because yesterday was not a good day at all. And I was pretty upset, pretty frustrated. And I decided that I would rather make a video with some time and would think about it instead of going in blind rage for some things I probably would have not been happy with said. I probably would have regret some of the words I would have used, but that's why I decided to make a video tonight. This was without a doubt one of the toughest losses to ever happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and me being a fan in a long time. And being one and done after having such high expectations and having such great teammates and great players and having one of the best defenses in the league, and to show up like that, it's embarrassing. I was more disappointed. Now I think about it, I'm more disappointed than upset. Was I pissed after they lost? Sure, I absolutely was. But when your offense scores 42 points but can't get the win, there's something wrong with your game plan. I watched the game yesterday, and I found out a lot of weaknesses for the Steelers. Biggest issue they have is, other than Javon Hargrave, they have no good nose tackle. No good defensive tackle whatsoever. And it sucks because McCullers is a bust, in my opinion. We got him as around the third or fourth draft pick, and he's an absolute bust at this point. Javon Hargrave cannot stop every single run. That was one of the main reasons why we lost. Sure, the two turnovers were pretty bad, but you can't blame that on Ben. You really can't. The first play was Vance McDonald not making the catch, or at least trying to bat the ball down if he didn't have it, instead of having Miles Jack go in and get the interception. Like, that's completely obvious. If you don't have possession, knock it down, get it out of the way so they don't get an interception, or try to attempt to catch or get it out of the defender's hands. Because that was absolutely horseshit, like, to be honest. I don't understand why that they allowed him to do this. It's unbelievable. And on the second turnover what led to a touchdown, it was the offensive line's fault and the receivers not being able to catch Telvin Smith. The offensive line should have protected better, or Ben should have gotten the ball, but the offensive line should have done their job properly on that play. And we lost 45-42. An absolute embarrassment for our defense. But Ben Roethlisberger did everything in his power to win that game for us, and we could have almost won that game if it wasn't for one person, two people in particular, two people, one coach and one player. Todd fucking Haley and Mike fucking Mitchell. They single-handedly were some of the worst answers on this team. I'm just going to say this right now. Mike Mitchell, I want you off this team. I want them to cut you. You're nothing but a cancer to this organization. You're costing this team $6 million a year. And for what? A safety that's complete and utter garbage? No wonder we got Sean Smith from Maryland in last year's draft in the second round. It's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. I don't even understand how bad you could be to be a safety. I just don't. I don't understand how you can let Ben Roethlisberger for the second most yards in postseason history, the second most, and yet they lose. And you don't know who was the only other one who had more? Bernie Kosar. He was the only other one who had more, and his team won. Let's go and look at some of the other games that they had. All the other quarterbacks that had as many passing yards in the top 5, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger is the only other time where it really had. Ben was the only one who lost. Drew Brees lost 30. Oh, it was the 49ers game. That was the only other time, and 2 in the top, where one of the top best performances passing gets relegated to a loss, and it's embarrassing. I think it's only 2 times in the top 10, so let me go ahead and check real quick. Let me see. Oh, the other was Kelly Holcomb and Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, it's embarrassing. We score 42 points, but yet can't get the win. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. And I'm not putting this loss on Keith Butler. I'm putting this loss on the fact that Mike Mitchell was absolute dog shit in this game. He was. You can't argue me that he was. And yet, Mike Mitchell goes on Twitter before a game and says, "Oh, we want to play the Patriots in hell or Haiti or whatever, but we'll beat them." Hey, Mike Mitchell, how about you fucking think about one goddamn game at a time instead of fucking thinking about the Patriots? And Le'Veon Bell, let me get on your case too. You're doing the same thing, round 2s, 2 weeks in a row. Beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, then think about the Patriots. You guys are idiots. And yet, David Jastrow, I applaud you for calling them out, calling out your teammates. You're right to do that because you call out everybody for their bullshit. This team was with nothing but filled with drama, bullshit, and disappointment. And this was a Super Bowl or bust year. This was a Super Bowl or bust year. And you guys blew it. It's fucking blew it. You came and beat the fucking Jaguars at home. And when they whooped your ass earlier this year, and yet your defense can't stop Leonard Fournette and Blake Bortles, who only has one other postseason start. It's embarrassing. It's just flat out fucking embarrassing. And Le'Veon Bell didn't even show up. I know we understand he had the receiving touchdown and the other touchdown, but dude, your rushing performance was pretty garbage compared to Fournette. You better be willing to take the franchise tag this year if we can't get a deal for you. You better be willing to take it because you played 16 games this year, finally for the first time in your career. And I'll admit, you had a good year. But you got to show up when the time comes, and you didn't. You had 2 touchdowns. Oh, I don't care. You had 2 touchdowns. You were supposed to take over the game at some points, and yet they couldn't. But other than Mike Mitchell, the most single-handed person in costing us this game was Todd Haley. Both his 4th down and 1 conversion attempts were fucking pathetic. I'm just going to be blunt honest. They were fucking pathetic. They were. How do you run a play-action fake and a pitch to the outside on 4th and 1? Are you stupid? Anyone else could call a better play. Fake it to Bell, hand it to Nix. Think you're running the Bell, hand it off to Nix. Quarterback sneak. Do something else other than that stupid bullshit. And yet you do another play action, a fake play action pass on 4th and 1 and throw it deep. Are you kidding me? Todd Haley, I hope you get the fuck out of Pittsburgh. You need to get out. Pure and simple, you need to get out. Thank God they did not renew your contract this year, and I think it's time for you to go. I honestly think it is time for you to go. You are an absolute piece of shit. You're garbage. You have no idea how they coach this offense. And you want to know something? They made the quarterbacks coach, Randy Fichtner, who's the new offense. Let's see what this was. Give me a second here. I think I have the I think that was the name. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, because Todd Haley, I think he is going to be fired after this year. Oh, here you go. Randy Fichtner, the quarterbacks coach. And this guy Randy Fichtner was in the booth the entire 2017 season. And he's been coaching since 2007. Like, he was a wide receivers coach. And then he was the quarterbacks coach since 2010. This is his first year where he's been on the sideline. And Ben and Haley I also say Ben and Haley do not like each other. That's why Ben took over most of the game. I think Todd Haley, after that first half, I think Ben took over the game. So I wouldn't be surprised within this week that Todd Haley gets his papers, walking papers. Because I think Todd Haley should be fired at this point. After that offensive performance, I don't care if they score 42. I don't care. You make the plays when you're supposed to make the plays. And that onside kick was pretty hard to do as well. Like, onside kick was pretty bad call as well. But that was the only bad call from Tomlin, I think. But other than that, I don't blame this really on Tomlin because Tomlin's staying no matter what. Todd Haley, it's time for you to go. And if Keith Butler, if you don't perform next year, mainly your secondary or defensive backs coach, don't perform next year, it's time for you to go next year. Because next year is Super Bowl or bust. Either we get to the Super Bowl and win, or the season was a complete failure. And this was for this year too. But I think it's time for Randy Fichtner to take over as the offensive coordinator for this team. He is going to be so much better. He's so much better, and him and Ben have great chemistry. And you want to know something? Randy Fichtner has also been developing Joshua Dobbs. And I think Joshua Dobbs is the future for this franchise. I think when Ben retires after a few more, I think he'll play. In 2018, he wins the title. I think he's retiring, but you don't know what could happen. But Joshua Dobbs is the future of this franchise. They're already making it clear. Landry Jones, I think, should be cut. I think after training camp, I think he will end up getting cut, or we're looking for a trade partner for Landry Jones because he's not going to be a fit for the Steelers system. You could barely beat the Cleveland Browns, Landry Jones. I think it's time for you to go. You've had a long time to develop this, try and learn the system, try and take it over in your offense, and you have not proved to be a good enough starter. So that actually leads into what I'm going to be talking about next is the 5 moves that I think the Steelers should do in the 2017 offseason, 2018 offseason. So biggest one I just discussed, firing Todd Haley and getting Randy Fichtner as the new offensive coordinator. Next up, cutting Mike Mitchell. It'll free up $6 million in cap space. Next up, after that, we're going to go over, and I'm going to go over some positions. If you cannot negotiate a deal, Le'Veon Bell, franchise tag him. I understand it's $15.4 million to franchise and tag him this next year. But you should be coming up with a huge deal this year, Steelers. I think you need to pay Bell. I really do think you need to. But at the same time, I think if he has another great offensive season next year, it's time to give him a deal. But my first option is to franchise tag him. Second would be to give him the long-term deal. But right now, if you can't find anything, give him the franchise tag. I know he wants to be back in Pittsburgh to win the game, so I just need to get a Twitch right there. The free agents we should get rid of, though, I think there are definitely some free agents. Arthur Moats, I definitely know this is a big one coming. Arthur Moats, I know, is probably going to be gone after this year. He's going to free up $1.9 million up to closer to $2.5 million cap space. And he's been a great player, and I have nothing but respect for Arthur Moats. And I wish him the best of luck wherever he goes. Mike Mitchell, I don't give a shit about. I don't care where he goes, but he needs to be off this team. Some of the other free agents I think they should be getting rid of at this point. Damian Stafford, I really haven't seen much from him, and Damian Stafford I don't think is probably going to be doing much. He's more of a practice squad player. He really hasn't done much to improve himself. He could prove himself in training camp, but that's $775,000 in cap space as well. Let me see here. Yeah, he hasn't had much success. He hasn't really done anything. He played 2 years. He played for the Titans. He only has one interception. Let me see here. Oh, okay, he's been playing a few years, but he was drafted to the Titans. And what has he done? Yeah, he hasn't really done much. He's getting $775,000. I think we probably will end up cutting him. Sean Spence, he has not been that he hasn't been that good of a linebacker. We brought him after James Harrison got cut, but I don't think he's really going to be kept. Who else do we get rid of at this point? Dan McCullers is my biggest one. I think we'll get rid of him. $574,000, $670 in cap space. That's going to free up. We're going to have to get we're going to have to get rid of one receiver. It's either Eli Rogers or Justin Hunter. Well, my thing is here. Justin Hunter is $855,000. Eli's $526,000. I really haven't seen enough from Justin Hunter. He really hasn't done much. Impressive. Eli Rogers had an okay year. He was decent against the Jaguars, but he had some bad plays this year. Honestly, say wait till training camp and see who would make the practice squad and who should be cut. I really don't know, but one of those two will be gone. Mike Hilton they can keep. I think that's the main free agents I think we really should be getting rid of. The only ones I really think we need to keep at this point are Chicolo, Boswell, McCullers, Roosevelt next, BJ Finney, Grimble, Barry, Hilton, Matt Fair, Chris Hubbard, Stevan Ridley. I think those guys we really need to keep. Otherwise, get rid of the rest at this point. Next thing is picking up a star free agent. And we need to pick up a very good, strong free agent this year. I have a couple of options of where we can pick, mainly for nose tackle and free agency. Because I'm going to go ahead and look up the draft rankings for nose tackles because that's going to be our biggest concern, I think. I think if we go in the draft, we need to go into getting either Christian Wilkins or Vita Vea from Washington and Clemson Christian Waters from Clemson and Vita Vea and Washington respectively. Or we could get Deron Payne as well if he's available. One of those three defensive tackles we need to get in the draft, either the first round or two. If not, I know this is a bold statement, but I really think we should go for Sheldon Richardson. I know he is going to be – he's not the best player right now. I know he's not like a very well character issue, really good character issues, but I honestly think he's a good player, and I think he still has a couple of years. I think we signed for a 2-year deal. I think we get a good offer for him. I think he would want to join this team because he's been playing on the Jets. He really wasn't the best on the Jets. They traded him to a win, trying to do a playoff team. Wanted to go to a playoff team. They didn't make it. I think if he really wants to go for a playoff team and he wants to make a team better, I think he should go for the Steelers, personally. Either him or Dontari Poe. I think Poe makes more sense because I think Dontari Poe is probably not a little bit better character-wise, not more of a basket case because I think Sheldon Richardson probably has some character issues, but if we can get either one of them in the offseason, that is going to be huge. That's going to improve our defensive line because our ends and our and Hargrave are both amazing. Like I can't stress how good our defensive line is, but I think nose tackle is probably our weakest spot, other than Hargrave, who's really good. Hargrave's really good, but we need a backup for Hargrave, and I think we can get Dontari Poe. Probably my best option. Probably we go and sign Dontari Poe for a few years deal. He would help significantly. Let me go ahead and just delete this. Delete this. Okay, so sorry about that. All right, so if I had to pick up Steelers free agents that we should go and sign this year, Dontari Poe's the biggest one for nose tackle. Or as they say, defensive tackle. Because the other one is Star Lotulelei, but the problem is, though, he's not a good run stopper. We need a run stopper because our run defense was suspect. I think another one we should really go for as well is Malcolm Butler. I think Malcolm Butler could be a great backup for us if we could get him at a good deal. And I think he would definitely help out the Steelers, I think, since he's been in the Patriots for so long. He's not a bad corner, but I think to put in some positions for training camp, I think Hayden will definitely be a starter. Burns, the problem with him is he's been inconsistent this year. If we could get a star corner, we're not going to go get Tremaine Johnson because he's going to be costing us way too much money. But if we can get someone like Malcolm Butler, I think that would be huge for us. It would definitely help. That's for sure. So probably those are my two picks for probably if like big free agents they need to get. Let me go ahead and put this in here. And then the other thing I really think we need to get in free agency or in the draft is a safety. I know Eric Reed is on the market, but he is garbage. He is absolute garbage. I really just can't stand him at this point. Oh, that was for me. My bad. But another free agent I think we can go for is probably Kenny Vaccaro from the Saints. He's very young, knows how to play the position, very smart. He's been playing for a few years, and I think definitely it's time for him to get a big deal. I definitely think he'd be good with New Orleans, even though he hasn't played a full. He hasn't played more than 14 games since 2015. He's been limited with injuries, but I think that Kenny Vaccaro will probably be a good fit for us at the safety position. He can definitely make an impact right away. Definitely more than fucking Mike Mitchell. Now we can address the draft, because the draft will definitely be big for us. Go ahead and pull up the NFL Combine, the draft prospects. And the biggest question I hear is, should the Steelers draft a replacement for Ben Roethlisberger? I say hell fucking no. He's not. No, I don't think it's time for really get. What we need is a good free safety. Why is that video playing? Sorry about that. I don't know why that's really acting up. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at free safeties. That's probably another thing is to look in the draft for either a linebacker or a
NCIS.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? All right, sorry. Probably the biggest one is Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama is the biggest one, but he is going to go early. That's the problem. And then after that, free safety is the next one. Is 66 with Clem Blanding from Virginia. Ugh, that's not good. I'm going to go ahead and look at safety as well. We need seven player. I think we get 7 or 8 this year. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. The second-ranked player is Derwin James from Florida State.
We used to just shout across the room at each other.
So I'm just going to go ahead and mute that. But yeah, it looks like Derwin James is the top one. Then Deshaun Elliott after that is the next strong safety. Another thing we need to look for, especially with Ryan Shazier being hurt, you don't know how long he's going to be out for, his inside linebacker. Problem with inside linebacker is also, too, you have one good player with Roquan Smith, and then the rest of the talent's like second or third round picks. Like Tremaine Edmonds is the next best one. So really the problem for the Steelers is the positions they need, they're going to go early in the draft. And that's going to suck because we're picking 27th. Because I officially announced the draft order that we're picking 27th this year. So that really does hurt that we're playing, that we're 27 right now. That really does hurt because going in the top, going to the positions, pretty much all the best players that we need are going to go early, which kind of sucks. Like right now, probably the biggest one probably would be Daron Payne from Alabama in the mock draft. I mean, all the 2018 top prospects, Daron Payne is the 27th rank, so he could fall to us, but he could also go early. Vita Vea is going to go early. Maurice Hunt is going to go early. Yeah, I think we should really go for Daron Payne in the draft from Alabama as our first pick. We had to make a first pick if we don't get Dontari Poe in the draft. We need Dontari Poe in free agency. We could either go for Daron Payne and that's with the asterisk right after the A, or we could either go for a linebacker. I think we really would need a linebacker or a free safety, honestly. That'll probably be the best thing. Let me go ahead and pull that back up. Okay, yeah, here you go. All the overall prospects probably in our position probably would be linebackers. You have one good linebacker, and then the rest of it would be tough. We really don't need outside linebackers. We really need inside linebackers. go for Tremaine Edmonds in the second round. You could go for him as an inside linebacker, but you could also develop Vince Williams as well. So if I had to be honest with the draft, if we don't get Dontari Poe, I think our first pick should be from the defensive tackle from Alabama. In the second round, our second pick will probably be Tremaine Edmonds from Tremaine Edmonds, inside linebacker from Virginia Tech. Because we need somebody to help out with Ryan Shazier, because Ryan Shazier is going to be gone for a while. I don't think he's realistically going to play until halfway through next season, because his spinal contusion injury looked bad, and I really don't think he should be playing at all. I think he should honestly retire, but knowing him, he'll probably want to come back, but I really don't think he should at this point. He's a great player, but health comes first. I'd rather see him happy with his friends and family than playing on the football field any day. So in that case, I really do think he should retire, but I know he'll probably want to play again. But if we do need to get an inside linebacker to address him not being there, if he does come back, he'll probably won't be till halfway through this next season. But then I think the second pick will go with Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. Then after that, the next best thing after that would be a safety. So let me go ahead and go into free safety. Would definitely be position guys who definitely can start, but they can also wait and build up for a little bit. Probably the third pick I think the Steelers will have. I think the Steelers should get Armani Watts from. Let me go ahead and just make sure I spell his name right. Armani Watts, where he's a free safety. Give him a few years, he could definitely build himself to be better from Texas A&M. That's probably with our top three. That's probably our most important positions that we really need. Corners and definitely another way they can go to is getting a cornerback as well. The cornerback class this year is not that strong as it was in the past. The only real good corner that is in the draft is Joshua Jackson from Iowa. But otherwise, there really isn't any good cornerbacks that are really that strong this year. So I'm going to just go ahead and just discuss those three positions. That's probably the draft. I'll probably do a bigger video later. Like, I'll probably do another video in April once the schedule comes out. That'll probably be my next Steelers video. But then I just want to get into the 2017 season overall and just review it. So the 2017 season this year was kind of a bust, unfortunately. But I think the main reason why we had a bad ending to our season is because of the fucking Patriots. Yes, I know. I'm bringing this up again. I'm bringing this up to you. Yes, I know. But that one call completely changed our season. And you're damn right it did. It changed the entire outlook of the season. It did. If we would have won that game, we would have been having a rematch in the AFC Championship. Jaguars Steelers AFC Championship. I'll be honest, it would be. Because the Patriots would have to play the Jaguars, not the Jaguars playing us in the first divisional round. But that one call screwed our entire season. It really did. We had a very decent year until that game. our 3 losses this year were to the other 2 AFC Championship representatives, the Jaguars and the Patriots, and on the road against the Bears, where we struggle. Otherwise, we won every other game. And yet, we still can't find a way to be in the Super Bowl. And it's embarrassing. So this season was a failure. We had some good moments though this year. I'm not going to take that away. We went 6-0 in the AFC North, which is awesome. The first time since 2010. We beat the Ravens in Baltimore for the first time, for Ben's first time since 2010. We demolished them. We beat some good opponents. We beat some good teams. We beat the Packers. Packers. Who did we beat that was really good this year? We beat the Chiefs, who ended up blowing that lead, but they were still good at Arrowhead. We had some good wins. Problem was, we should have been blowing out more teams than we should. We really didn't blow out many teams, which kind of sucks. But we could play much better. Joe Hayden going down definitely hurt us in Week 10 against the Colts. But next year's got to be the year where we win the Super Bowl. Not winning this year with all the shit that happened in the Steelers this year, having Dan Rooney unfortunately pass away, rest in peace, Dan Rooney, pass away, and having Ryan Shazier hurt, the hashtag show leave moment happening for this year, and not winning the Super Bowl, it's a complete and utter disappointment to the fan base and to yourselves. Here's what I gotta say going into next year. If you guys do the things I just mentioned in this video, we should be unstoppable going into next year. With Todd Haley out of the picture, that's already a freaking huge improvement. It already is a huge improvement. It's incredibly huge. It makes such a difference. And our offense needs to plan for the future. Our team needs to plan for the future. I understand Ben's got maybe a year, maybe less, like maybe 2 left. But getting Randy Fichtner as the offensive coordinator is going to be the biggest thing, because we need a plan for the future. We need a plan for Josh Dobbs being our quarterback replacement. Because sure as hell is not going to be fucking Landry Jones. Sorry there. But going into this next year, I'm going to go over the schedule. Going into next year, we got a pretty interesting schedule. So we got right now, this is without the opponent, without the dates being announced. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, home and away. 6 games. We got the NFC South, the Falcons and the Panthers at home, and the Saints and Bucks on the road. After that, the next thing is the AFC East. We got the Patriots once again, and we got them at home again, which is nice. We get them for a 3rd straight year at home, which this time, 3rd time is going to be the charm for Ben. It's got to be. Then we got the AFC West. Home against Kansas City and Los Angeles, at Oakland and Denver. And that's our schedule. Oh, yeah, and then also we got at the Jaguars as well. The Jaguars are definitely the one game that we need to get revenge on. That's one of those games we're going to have to really mark down. I know we're not going to do this thing mantra or thinking about other people ahead of time. We got to go one game at a time next year. Our home schedule is pretty tough. It's pretty tough, I will give you that. The two best teams from the AFC West a year ago got the Patriots, got the Falcons, got the Panthers. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, always going to be a tough fight at home. Maybe not the Browns, but our road schedule is not awful at all. Honestly, our road schedule is pretty good next year. And we went 7-1 the road, the only loss being in overtime last year against the Chicago Bears, and that was a pretty bad hold. But I honestly think if we're not 14-2 or better, or 15-1 next year, then the season's pretty good. It'd be pretty bad. Hell, I'll take 13-3 again. But if we're going to upset the Patriots next year and the Jaguars, we're going to need a beat. We're going to need to beat them. And folks, I'm going to tell you, I'll be at 4 games next year. Hopefully 5. We'll see. I'm going to 4 games. I'm going to the Bucs game with my good buddy Alexander the Great, Abe Hizzle 90. I'll be going to the Jaguars game with my buddies, hopefully. I'll be going to the Saints game by myself. That's going to be a fun time in New Orleans. And I'll be going to the Denver Broncos game next year. And for me, the Jacksonville one's going to be I think our toughest road competition next year is against the Jaguars and against the Raiders. Because the Raiders, we honestly play terrible at Oakland every single time. I don't know what it is about the Oakland Raiders Stadium, but we always play garbage there. So that would probably be one of our 2 losses, and especially with John Gruden taking over. I honestly see our only other loss maybe coming against the Saints, maybe, I don't know. Or we might lose one home game, maybe the Panthers, maybe the Falcons, but you don't know what happens with Cam Newton. You don't know what's going to happen with Newton. So I think Newton, I don't know what's going to happen with Cam Newton. He might be going to another team too. So let me see here. I definitely think he's going to want to. I think he definitely wants to go. He definitely wants to stay with the Panthers, but he also might be able to go somewhere else as well. But you never know. This is just in very, very early speculation. So honestly, if we don't get the number 1 seed next year, we're fucked. I'm just going to tell you. We're fucked, honestly, next year if we don't get the number 1 seed in the AFC next year. And I think we can do it, honestly. Next year, we can be the number 1 team next year in the AFC. Jacksonville on the road, we play Jacksonville on the road much better than we do at home at Pittsburgh. I don't know why. Honestly, most of these games are going to be pretty good for the Steelers. Like, we don't have that many tough games next year. I think the Falcons will give us trouble. The Patriots are definitely going to be a tough game. Jaguars will definitely be a good game. The Ravens at Baltimore is going to be a challenge, as always. But I think Baltimore, next year could be really bad. Saints will definitely be a tough test on the road. Denver, because of the weather, you know what's going to happen with that weather, but Honestly, if we don't go 14-2 or 13-3, we're fucked. I'm just gonna be honest. We gotta get the number 1 seed in the AFC next year if we're gonna win the Super Bowl. We just gotta. And we do these moves. This happens. We're gonna be a legit threat. And as far as my new Super Bowl prediction, the Vikings still have a chance. I want to see anybody win New England. That's my goal. Anybody but New England winning the Super Bowl this year. Because if New England wins and ties the Steelers for a 6th Super Bowl, I am going to be pretty goddamn upset with the NFL. I seriously think it's time for another team to win a Super Bowl other than the fucking Patriots every year. Because I hate the fucking Patriots with a burning passion. The refs screw us over this year, and I definitely think they definitely played politics on that one with screwing over the Steelers. They're going to definitely help. There's going to definitely be a hot topic from the rules next year. Making sure that's a catch and everything, and they're going to definitely clearly define the rules a lot better. So, final thoughts. If I had to give the Steelers season a grade, it'd be a B. It would honestly be a B. The postseason, how we went out was fucking awful. Like, our losses were pretty bad losses. The Jacksonville got blown us the fuck out. That was the only time they blew us out really in a stadium, but we rebounded quick, and that was early in the season. That was our only real ugly loss. The Bears, we kind of got screwed over with in that game. That was kind of a really bad situation. We also played really bad in Chicago. Them in Oakland, we do not play well at. We don't play well at all at those two stadiums. That's why I'm not going to the Raiders game next year. I would never go to that shitty-ass stadium in Oakland. I would never go. I'm sorry. It's probably the worst stadium to ever visit. Steelers do need to make some big changes for next year. But until the regular season schedule comes out, I think this is going to be the last time I talk about the Steelers and football for a while. I want to get back into some hockey videos. I know before the schedule comes out, I definitely think that the NHL playoffs start way before the schedule comes out. So, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to have a drink, that's for sure, because this team made me want to drink. I couldn't drink last night, but I'm going to drink tonight. So, anything that being said, guys, see you guys later. Stay awesome. Here we go, Steelers. And fuck the Patriots. Anybody but New England.